Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Committed Critics, a pop culture podcast. We're not only committed to our opinions, but also each other. Aww. I'm Kevin Lau.
I'm Ryan Davis.
And I'm Zachary Wright.
And today we are talking about streaming services and basically having them duke out to see which one's the best one. Zach, did you want to kick off anything with us with this?
Yeah, so I'm just going to go through a quick list of streaming services that I picked from.
Kevin threw in some extra.
Yeah, Kevin threw in some other ones. So like when we're talking about streaming services, talk about like the big heavy hitter ones. There's also some like smaller ones that Kevin added that are rightly should be added to this list as well. I just wasn't thinking of them. So going down the list, we have Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, Hulu Max, YouTube Premium, which I didn't realize was still a thing.
Hulu Max.
I was like, Hulu Max.
Did I say Hulu Max? Oh, sorry. HBO Max. My bad.
Yeah.
HBO Max. YouTube Premium, which like I said, didn't realize it was still a thing, still had content on it.
Yeah, it's technically a streaming service because there's exclusive stuff you can watch through it.
I thought it was YouTube Red.
It was YouTube Red. They rebranded it to Premium.
Okay.
Whole thing. Hulu, Paramount Plus, Discovery Plus, Peacock, Apple TV, and then Funimation, Crunchyroll, which those two will become one at some point with the new merger.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin, you also added Shudder, Canopy, and Hoopla. If you want to add those, talk about those in a second. I'm going to finish the list real fast.
Yep.
Crackle, the Criterion Collection, Mubi, Tubi, and Roku Channel.
Actually, it's called the Criterion Channel. Criterion Collection's different.
All right, I'm booting Kevin from the call. It's just me and Ryan for this episode.
But yeah, so I mean, like, I think people know like Netflix, Disney, and all that stuff they have. Apple TV's
I would say
got
all
like
the way to
Ted Lasso.
Crunchyroll. Yeah, I would say all the way to Crunchyroll is probably what people don't know.
Funimation and Crunchyroll. It's anime. It's all anime. Shudder with 2 Ds is horror. So just a bunch of horror movies, mostly slashers.
Mm-hmm.
Canopy with a K is basically you get it through your local library or school, and it's more like stuff you would like your school would make you watch, or something, or like libraries would have openly available, like a lot of older movies, some independent movies, a lot of documentaries. Citizen Kane surprisingly is not on there because Warner Brothers owns the distribution rights.
Right, I'll go F myself.
Why would you want to watch Citizen Kane anyway?
Citizen Kane was actually just released on Criterion as their first 4K Blu-ray, so that's something.
Don't watch it. Don't do it, people. It's terrible.
We could talk about that another time.
Can we just do an episode where it's just Kevin rightly defending Citizen Kane as one should, and to me and Ryan just tanking it? just saying it's trash.
I hate that movie with a passion.
The thing is, okay, we'll talk about it another time.
We'll talk about it later.
A Patreon exclusive portion, because I want to talk about it, but I can't. So yeah, Canopy has a lot of mostly documentaries. If you want to watch, and also like Criterion has some stuff on Canopy as well. It's very, very good, and it's free if you have a library card most of the time, depending on your library or school. We have Hoopla, which we talked about, where we read our comics from. They also, you can stream TV and movies on there as well. I will be going more into depth of why I hate it so much. Crackle, which is Sony's streaming service that they barely put any support into. It is totally free to use. You can watch a lot. It's best used for their TV shows like Third Rock from the Sun, 21 Jump Street, all their older classic Sony shows. That aren't streaming anywhere else. Criterion Channel. If you know about the Criterion Collection, it's basically curated films that are from throughout history, and also independent films that they have distribution rights to. Criterion Channel or Criterion Collection as a whole are basically the leaders of film preservation and remastering films. So basically, if you want to see old films in the best quality possible, you watch it through Criterion Channel or buy like a Criterion Blu-ray.
And they're also the head users of Letterboxd, so those pesky film nerds love that fucking Criterion Collection. Listen here, you nerds.
Yeah, no, there's a whole thing with like Criterion Collection where just like it's basically like just fancy Blu-rays that you can boil it down to, like boutique Blu-rays. I think it's what it's called.
Yeah.
You're not a better film critic because you have Criterion's, but it is a really good resource to have available.
Yep.
There is Mubi, MUBI, which is basically kind of like similar to Criterion Collection, where it is very curated movies that are like a lot of foreign films, a lot of independent films, a lot of parts of film history, and I believe like they basically like cycle through like a new movie a day or a week.
Okay.
I'm not entirely certain. I don't use it. I only used it once to watch one movie from China because they had the only American distribution for that one movie.
Right.
It was Dead Pigs, which is directed by Kathy Yan, who also directed Birds of Prey.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was her first feature. And it's really good. I think it was finally released on Blu-ray in America, so I should get that at some point. There is Tubi, where movies go to die. Literally,
Correct.
it is a trash pile of movies on Tubi. Like, there is... I can't remember if I talked about it on the show, but my first feature I worked on was a shark movie, which is absolutely awful, but still has not been released.
Really?
The other movies that director has made are on Tubi.
My favorite thing is if you Google Tubi, one of the people also asks questions is Tubi TV really free?
It's free with ads.
I've heard
Anyway,
of it. So
continue.
it's like on my computer. It's on my Roku.
Yeah, don't
Oh,
worry
I'm
about
sure
it.
it is. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Then the final one that we'll mention is the Roku channel, which is becoming its own streaming service. There's still, I don't know anyone who actually uses it, but
Yeah,
they
no idea.
have been picking up shows. Like there was one show on NBC that got canceled, but a Roku channel picked it back up, like Zoe's Infinite Playlist or something like that.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
I'm mixing
really?
two titles together. Yeah, and there's I think Daniel Radcliffe is in a Roku channel show too.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's a thing.
Yeah.
How many people use it? I don't know. But yeah,
so Kevin, what is your streaming service of choice then?
my streaming service of choice out of all the ones we mentioned? HBO Max.
Yeah.
I think it covers everything a streaming service needs to cover in the order of priority, where first is content, second is functionality, and then third is design. It's just, I think we'll talk about it more. HBO Max just is like the leader of streaming service content. They have, it's owned by Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers is like one of the main players of film since the beginning. So they have basically everything that you would want. And it functions really well. I really like how they compress their videos, where you're able to stream it even on slow internet speeds, but still get really high quality.
Right.
And the design of the app, both on Roku TV and the website, I think it is well enough. Like, it has a nice color scheme to it. It's clear to see like what each movie is as you select it. Like, obviously it could use some more quality of life, but like that's something that just like launched 2 years ago. I think it's pretty good, considering that I think Netflix still has the best user interface, but they've had a decade to fix it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Also, another streaming service of my choice is Criterion Channel. Obviously, great for cinephiles.
Kevin's a film nerd.
Oh, dumb film.
What's interesting about Criterion Channel that is like they're partnered with Vimeo, so everything you watch is through the Vimeo player on Criterion Channel, which in Vimeo is very good about like preserving the quality of the video, so nothing gets compressed or lost through streaming. This, of course, means you need to have a faster internet speed to watch things at its full capacity. But having Criterion Channel, it's only $10 a month, and you can watch like a whole history of movies. The user interface is very good, how it's curated, and they always let you know like, hey, here's the new things that are out. Here are the things that are leaving, and then you can make your own decisions on how you want to watch it.
Yeah, for sure. Ryan,
How
what
about
about
you,
you,
Ryan?
sir?
Okay. Well, I do agree with Kevin on HBO Max. For different reasons. Yes, the content functionality. I'm more on the content side. Like, functionality design is really good.
Because Ryan's even more of a nerd than Kevin. Sorry.
I mean, when it comes to streaming service, I think content is king. Like,
no, Ryan's correct. Yes.
when I saw the fact that they had not only almost everything DC on there, almost everything Cartoon Network, and they have anime and crime dramas, I was like, oh, I'll be on here for a while. Like,
yeah, because Sony
I need.
owns Crunchyroll, so Crunchyroll is just a portion of HBO Max now.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm like, oh, sweet, I got everything I need right here. I mean, like, Netflix is good, and I do enjoy it, but like, one, they keep taking off content that I want and adding content that I don't even care about.
Right.
And I don't know, something about it. Like some of the content just feels a little bit fake. I don't know.
Oh, 100%. I have a whole rant about this later.
I will go into a little
bit.
bit more of a detail whenever I talk about what I like, but keep going, Ryan.
Yeah, so I'm like, and then I use Funimation a lot, but that's because anime, and I need to fix.
Yeah, for
The
sure.
user
HBO
interface
Max
of Funimation is pretty terrible.
Oh yeah, no, the user interface on that is absolutely awful, and I hate it to passion. But it's either I some of the illegal anime download things are getting caught now, so I'm like, well, I'll pay for this, so I don't get viruses.
Still the best way to watch Demon Slayer.
On Funimation.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. And what
I'm
else?
pretty sure.
What else, Ryan?
No, just HBO Max is my favorite. I wish they would add a few more shows on HBO Max, but I understand that they can't. But
I'm waiting for it.
What?
Waiting for
Disney
it.
Plus being terrible.
The obligatory Disney slander from Ryan.
Look, I'm like, Disney Plus. I'll get into a whole lot later, but like I'm happy with a little bit of Disney Plus, but they are terrible. Like I only go in there to watch like three or four shows.
Yeah. Look, after the break, I do have another. I have more slander for Disney Plus.
Yeah, it's fair. It's not slander when it's true, right?
Plus.
What?
I said it's not slander when it's true, right?
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah.
How
about you, Zach?
I'll have a whole rant.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, Ryan. For me, I'm gonna take a hard left and say Xbox Game Pass.
We didn't even mention that one.
I'm right.
It is a really good streaming service.
Yeah, it's a really good streaming service. Like
Wait,
you get a lot of value. Yeah.
I thought it was
like,
a games. Isn't that a Game Pass?
So it is. Yeah, so you can stream games if you have fast enough internet, but you can also download them too. So like it is literally like Netflix but for video games.
Right. Yeah. So like,
okay, so
in that same
technically a
comparison,
streaming
Kevin, like on Xbox Game Pass, you have a lot of indie games and a lot of different smaller titles. But you also have some really big like AAA headliners. You got like the whole Crisis collection, all of the Halos. Like I can go through my Xbox app right now and just list off everything that you can download via Game Pass. But there's also a lot of indie stuff that'll come out around sometime. But like you can equate some of those indie things like that Netflix has that's not really well known. I would say the indie scene on Game Pass is a little more curated, a little more like higher quality than some of the actual Netflix shows.
Because Xbox Game Pass does not allow shovelware, whereas Netflix does allow shovelware.
Right, yeah. So just
Shovelware.
looking at Game Pass real fast, you have like go ahead. What?
I mean, shovelware is essentially like games. You'll probably see them at like Walgreens or something like that. They're sold for like $20. The Wii had a bunch of them where it's like, they're games that like they're made for like to get older people to buy games for their kids, not knowing what
Ryan,
not
don't
knowing
tap
about the
the
game
mayo.
industry.
Is shovelware.
No,
okay.
Tap the Mayo is an indie game that just has one function and doesn't try to make a million off of it. Like,
that was the best dollar ever spent.
Dude, we laughed so hard for a solid like 4 hours trying to get that platinum trophy.
Tap the Mayo did not try to like be like, oh, it's a great game to play with your kids and stuff like that. And sell it, like try to trick old people to buying it. Like Tap the Mayo's like, no, you know what it is going into it.
Yeah. But back to like the list of like stuff on like Game Pass, you have like the whole Fallout collection, the Forza games, all the Gears of War games, all the Halos.
I saw Craftopia was on there. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
I should play
Knockout
that.
City, the new dodgeball game that I kind of want to get into. The Mass Effect trilogy's on here. Of course, Microsoft Flight Simulator, Minecraft. Like, there's a whole bunch of good games, and like it's really like good value, and it's really going to change the way. Like, it's setting a new precedent in the video game industry while keeping its value high and its cost low. But yeah, that's just my like tongue-in-cheek joke for this episode. In terms of regular run-of-the-mill streaming services, I hard agree with HBO Max. It's hard to beat, especially after it's 45 days after theatrical release. Like, shtick. That's really good. Like with the Batman, for example, coming out, like that'll be on 45 days after theatrical release.
Yeah, April 16th, I think I saw.
What was that?
I think I saw April 16th.
Yeah, and like I know Jordan's excited to watch Sing 2. But I think that should be on there by now. And
Sing is a Universal film, I think.
I thought I saw somewhere that was coming on HBO Max, though. I could be wrong. I thought I Googled it and it said HBO Max. I was like, okay.
It might come to HBO Max.
Yeah. And like Kevin said earlier, the content offered on HBO Max is very solid. Like you have some really good, well, like produced shows like Peacemaker. Like Peacemaker isn't my cup of tea, but still a decent quality show.
Yeah, like they put out a lot of Max originals. Like it's hard to keep up with it, but
Euphoria.
like they all have like
Young
well,
Justice.
Euphoria is an HBO show, not
is
HBO
it?
Max original. Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of Max original shows that come out pretty frequently, and they're all like at a certain level of quality
Right.
as well. It's not just like they don't feel like quick cash grabs. They're just like, no, like we bought the distribution rights for the show, or like we wanted to produce the show and give this show a platform.
Right.
So there's a curation process with HBO Max.
I like that they gave Peacemaker a budget and they didn't give one to Titans.
Dude, right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
rip.
Titans, I think they just like they had their system in place, so they just kind of went with it.
Right,
Whereas
yeah.
Peacemaker was like
System.
a spin-off of the DC extended universe movie thing.
Yeah.
You say system? They threw darts at a board and said, "This is our show."
Hey, it's still a system.
It's not a good system, but it's a system. I also do like Disney Plus solely because it has so much IP on it. Like the amount of like all the Marvel movies, all Star Wars, like anything you want that like Disney now owns, even the Fox movies, like is on Disney Plus. So it's hard to like
That's
not
weird.
like include that in my top. Like it's very content heavy, but like you guys said earlier, the interface and the way it's built is just awful. It's so
That's
bad.
gonna be part of my rant, Zach. They don't have what I want.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But in terms of like Pixar movies and stuff like that, and like Disney animation, like the golden age of Disney, like stuff, all that jazz, for example, most of it is there. There's still things that we're waiting on to get on that platform. But like you guys, full agreed. The interface, the way it's built, the player itself, all just awful, all just terrible. And I think with that, you want to take a quick break, Kevin?
Yeah. Well, hold on real quick. You want to say like just the 3 streaming services you regularly cycle through?
Oh yeah, sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, the 3 I go through the most: HBO Max, Criterion Channel, and Netflix.
Ryan.
Funimation, HBO Max, Netflix.
Right now we've been using Disney Plus a lot because we're watching Star Wars Rebels. Jordan uses Netflix a lot more than I do, but she watches Netflix, so I'm gonna include that in my cycle. And HBO Max.
And we all shared HBO Max account.
Yeah, we do. Woo!
Thanks, Kevin.
And with
The
and
best
with that-
$15 a month I've ever spent, really.
Oh my god. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Oh,
All right. And we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about some of our least favorite streaming services.
Ooh.
See you in a bit. Starting a podcast? Try a Podbean Unlimited hosting plan. It's what we use here at Committed Critics, giving us the opportunity to have our show on Pandora, iHeartRadio, and even Spotify. You can get your first month of unlimited hosting for free on us by going to podbean.com/committedcrits, just like our Twitter, or by clicking the link in the description. Podbean, the easiest, most affordable option to get started in podcasting.
Don't you wish there was a pop culture review site that appealed to cinephiles, both professional and casual? Well, look no further than crpwrites.com. New content such as movie and TV reviews, film essays, and more are released every week by writers who crave for movies like every moviegoer craves for popcorn. CRP Writes is dedicated to making sure no one is wasting time or money where they shouldn't be. After all, you have to be able to buy your popcorn and eat it too. crpwrites.com. Casual reviews with purpose since 2018.
And welcome back, everybody, to Committed Critics as we continue to talk about streaming services. Specifically now, what our least favorite streaming services are and ones that can be improved upon. Ryan, you want to kick us off?
Do you really want me to go with my Disney Plus slander?
I-
All
do you
right.
want- Yes.
I can say my quick note about Disney Plus before you go into it.
Please do.
Disney Plus runs like it's powered by half a potato.
It definitely is powered by half potato. Like, yeah.
Like not even a
Zach-
full
Zach's-
potato, half a potato.
Oh god, it's just. I'm sorry, like it's terrible. All right, so Zach, I know you said it had a lot of IP.
Yeah.
I know you said like, oh, you got your Marvel, you got your Star Wars, you got Pixar. it has nothing that I want. I'm happy with all like the nice little things, but here's the thing: they don't have Toon Disney stuff that they had during the actual Golden Age, and they don't have Jetix stuff.
I was going to say, like, they're missing the
I was gonna
Jetix
say,
stuff.
Yeah,
I'm like Jetix
No,
was
Ryan.
everything.
Ryan, they have Spider-Man Unlimited on there. That was
I
Jetix.
don't want Spider-Man Unlimited. I want Spectacular Spider-Man.
That was CW Kids, and then it moved to Disney Channel. Then it got canceled.
I know, but I'm still mad.
I have it on
I'm like,
Vudu. Do you have my Vudu login?
I don't have your Voodoo login.
We
Well, I
could
have-
establish this part later. What's some content on Jetix, people? Jesus.
Jetix is like it's like an older kid Disney. I think
Yeah.
so. It's like
So
it's just slightly
No.
more mature, but it's still like TV Y7. So
The
it's-
only
I know what
Jetix thing
Jetix is. What's some
only
content for the
Jetix-
viewers?
The only Jetix thing they had on there is Super Rebel Monkey Team Hyperforce Go. That's the only thing I've been able to find.
Yin Yang
they don't-
Yo, Puka, Galactic
Yin Yang Yo,
Football.
Puka. They don't have Oban Star Racers. They don't have Atom. I know Power Rangers was on there for a while. Get Ed. Like
Okay, so I'm just Googling like these like Super Robot Monkey
Digimon
Team
Data
Hyperforce.
Yeah,
And-
that's where Dino Thunder, SPD, Operation Overdrive, and Jungle Fury
Mystic
were
Force.
aired on.
Yeah.
yeah, those were it.
So
Power
looking
Rangers
at some of
SPD,
this,
that was
looking
the
at
time.
some of this content, right? It was
Yeah.
made in a deal between Jetix Europe,
Yeah.
who is now it was formerly Fox Kids,
Mm-hmm.
and remaining shares purchased by the Walt Disney Company. Okay, so yeah, it's all in the Disney. I didn't know if it got split up and like only part of it got took by Disney and part of it went somewhere else. So yeah, Disney
it's
owns all
all-
of it now. Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But they don't use any of it.
No, they do not.
And they also don't
Correct.
and they don't have like the Toon Disney stuff. Like they don't have like Buzz Lightyear Star Command or the Weekenders or Fillmore.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, those were my shows. Like, I don't care about Liv and Maddie or Hannah Montana.
Well, hey,
like,
Hey.
No, I
They're
did
not
not care
bad.
about Hannah Montana.
Let's back off this
Hang
Hannah
on.
Montana slander.
that
It's
was
like the
that was
only-
pretty successful. So
Yeah.
I don't care if it was successful. I did not enjoy it.
okay, Brian, but you're not the only one using Disney Plus.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I know.
there's a different demographic
I know
for
that.
Hannah Montana.
I'm just saying, like,
But I
Can
do
we
think
have-
it is weird that like Disney Plus doesn't have like everything Disney right away when it could.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
Yeah.
that's the one thing though. Like, I remember about Disney, like they were like before like the streaming services, right? Like they had like the vault, and like only certain like animated Disney movies would come out to be purchased, like
Right.
in stores, right? It's like Aladdin would
Yeah.
come out of the vault.
Basically,
and you
like,
could buy it for
creating
a time
demand.
frame. Yeah, exactly. But now,
Yeah,
like
so
you said, Kevin, like with the streaming service, it's weird because that demand, it's there, but like there's no reason for them to keep it behind a door.
right, like there's no reason to stagger releases or anything. Like you have the digital versions, just release it. Like
Right,
just
yeah.
put it on there.
yeah. And then also, I'm sorry, why do they not restart the episodes when you click on it again? Is that
Dude,
in fact they have to rewind every single time?
I-
I'm like, is this a
I also-
VHS tape?
I also completely hate that the watch list is a separate tab.
yes.
Yeah.
And I
Like,
hate
just-
the watch list doesn't pick up where you left off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or okay, I
There's
say
no
that, it
there's no
does.
convenient way to
Yeah.
convenient way to like watch an episode from where you left off, then
Yeah.
go back to the show to like see the full list of episodes in case you want to go a
Yes.
couple episodes back.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to like go. You have to search it.
Yeah. So the way I've been doing it right now is like watching Star Wars Rebels, right? We just like it'll be like continue watching, but it'll pick up right where you left off at the credits and it won't like auto start the next one for you. So I have to like scroll down a couple ways more to find like because you've been watching Star Wars Rebels, here's Star Wars Rebels. And I'm like, okay, cool. Thanks, Disney Plus.
See what? What I've
Strangely,
been doing,
sorry, go ahead, Ryan.
what I do is like I fast forward to the through the credits, and then when it pops up like watch the next episode, see all episodes, and so then I have to go to see all episodes in order to get
Yeah,
to like the next one. But I'll still have to restart that next episode if Zach and Jordan have already watched it.
Right. Well, I think that's also an issue with like sharing like an account. So, like on HBO Max, I've noticed that too, where it is occasionally like if we like Ryan, like whenever you watch something, right? Or for example, we were watching Euphoria last week while my sister was watching it. So also Kevin, I gave my sister your login for Euphoria. I
That's
apologize. Oh, I think you knew that. I think I told you that.
Yeah.
So she was watching Euphoria and we picked up right as she was watching it. So I mean like, yeah, it's because she's watching it like in real time.
On the same profile.
Right. Yeah. So that could be
Yeah.
just like using the same profile as an issue. But yeah, just a note from
Yeah, strangely though, Disney Plus does work well on phones. So I
Yeah,
think
it
they
does.
put more. I think they put more focus on that than the TV aspect. Because
Which I
more
guess
people,
makes sense for like the iPad generation because
yeah, because
Yeah.
typically you're just gonna give the iPad to a kid, and then you give them Disney Plus, so you know that their kid's not gonna go on like watch random YouTube videos. That was a time.
Hey, that's how we have like 1,000 views on our VeggieTale episodes. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thankfully we kept the PG there.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So for me, my least favorite streaming service is Hoopla, because it's through your local library, so
Yeah.
it is meant for like preservation and like giving you access to like educational content. However, it only streams up to 480p, and the user interface is very clunky. Like you think Disney Plus is bad? This is powered by like an eighth of a potato.
This is my one tater tot, one soggy tater tot.
Yeah, it's
Wait,
it's
this
pretty,
is the same
it's pretty,
Hoopla that we use to read comics.
to read
though,
comic
isn't
books.
it?
Yeah,
Yes.
if you try to watch TV or movies on it, it's absolutely awful.
It's a good thing I don't do that.
I remember one
Yeah.
time Kevin was like, "Just watch it on Hoopla." I was like, "Absolutely not." I was like, I have standards, Kevin."
I'd rather
The thing is, I
illegally
would only
download
watch something on Hoopla if it's something I have to see,
Yeah,
but like it's nowhere else, legally at least.
legally.
And obviously Peacock is terrible. Like there's a whole like Peacock's infrastructure is just absolutely terrible.
Yeah,
App layout is
interesting.
terrible.
Because my family loves Peacock.
I don't get it. It's just like I
don't know
I
what's
go
on
through it. I'm
Peacock.
just like, what am I allowed to watch? What am I not allowed to watch? Like everything that looks like I'm allowed to watch, I have to pay for.
Right.
Everything I looks like I'm not allowed to watch, I don't want to pay for. But why would I watch this? This is bad.
right.
Maybe I'm
Yeah,
thinking Paramount. Which one has all the Star Trek on? Is that Peacock or is that Paramount?
That's CBS All Access, which
that's
is like
CBS
I
All
mentioned,
Access. Something completely different. Yeah.
which will now become Paramount Plus.
Yes.
So-
Okay, so
Yeah.
maybe they like Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus has some good
thought they
stuff
had
on it. It
Peacock.
just needs a little more IP and content. That's what my least two favorite quote unquote are. Like Paramount
Yeah.
It's like
Plus,
they have
like
iCarly.
yeah, they have good content, but I just need a little
Yeah.
more than just the old shows from my childhood to watch. Like
It
that's what I'm
just
kinda
needs more.
Yeah,
It needs more something to it.
yeah, a little
like,
more
it needs-
pizzazz.
Like because Paramount is a very broad production company.
Right.
And distributor. So I mean, they have Nickelodeon, but Nickelodeon has a deal with Netflix at the moment, so you don't have to really
Right.
do anything about that.
It's like,
So-
what's on Paramount Plus? Let me see.
It's like Mission Impossible.
Star Trek will be on there at some
yeah.
point.
Star Trek.
Like SpongeBob,
Like, really-
Halo's I forgot Halo's
Nickelodeon
coming
stuff.
on there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's what I was
I'm-
gonna say. Yeah, like I'm interested to see like what Paramount's like own like house made content is like with the Halo show, for example.
They're doing Halo.
curious
because
to
it
see,
could be
like-
good. It
Rugrats.
has potential.
Right, it
I
has
think what-
potential.
I
I'm
think
just
one
curious
thing
to
that's
see-
holding it back though is they just copied Disney Plus's name.
Yeah,
It's like
they definitely
you
help.
should
yeah,
call it
yeah.
something else.
Yeah, so I think like, but going back to like the Halo TV show, like you said, it has potential. I'm curious to see like how like quality that content actually is. If it feels kind of more like akin to like season 1 Cobra Kai, where it definitely feels like YouTube Red almost, or if it's
Yeah,
more in, like the
there was
vein of Netflix.
definitely that Halo show the trailer.
Yeah,
There were definitely a lot of shots of it that looked like a CW show.
Yeah.
And then every now and then you get a shot of like that looks like an actual movie. So
It's
it's
like,
just kind
oh.
of all mishmashed together.
yeah, it's definitely weird. So I'm curious to see how well that does. And Peacock, I don't have a reason to have Peacock. I'm curious to see like what happens when some of these like streaming service companies start to not fail per se, but like they start selling off and like start selling to the bigger ones. Like
They have to. Like there's too much
Right.
to keep track of. No one has moment I don't not no one, but like the average consumer doesn't have this much money to throw around.
right, yeah,
For
it'll
streaming
basically
services.
become cable packages again. Essentially, like look at
Yeah.
like the Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN bundle. You get for like $12.99 if you sign up with like Verizon. That's a great deal for those three things. If you like sports, like Hulu, and you like Disney Plus, you get all
Yeah.
those wrapped up in one for like $13 a month.
One
But
thing I'm very surprised about though, and this is kind of off topic a little bit, but like Hulu, like how successful Hulu is given how bad their interface is.
Oh yeah, Hulu's all yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Hulu,
I don't
hate
get how successful Hulu is. Like I don't understand.
It does have some good
terrible.
content
It's 'cause
on
they
it.
have good
It
dramas.
has the thing with the good thing about Hulu is it's like once it airs on actual like cable TV, the next day it's
Right.
on Hulu. That's kind of like its
but like
best thing.
I liked Hulu when that function was free, so you can watch like the last 3
Right.
episodes for free. Now
Yeah.
you have to pay for it. I'm just like, you have to pay for ads. So I'm like, I don't want to use
Yeah,
Hulu
and you
anymore.
never and you don't get with Spotify anymore. Sadly, they cut that.
Yeah.
Oh,
deal.
you don't?
Yeah. No.
Oh, then how's my Hulu still working?
But I was gonna say something else about back to like content, like them like basically gobbling each other up, right? Like
Yeah.
Sony, for example. I'm curious to see like because Crackle is Crackle, right?
Yeah.
Sony's gonna need to put like their like Spider-Mans and like their Ghostbusters and all their IP on some kind of streaming platform, and like they'll need to make a contract for that. I'm curious to see where they'll go with it. And like watching this IP bidding war and like arms race that's going to come is going to be very fascinating.
My hope is that it goes to Netflix.
Yeah.
Because Netflix could really use Sony's IP.
Yeah.
And Sony has like a sister distributor called Sony Pictures Classics, which distributes a lot of foreign and independent films. And they are they're very good at how they curate those films as well for distribution.
Right.
So even though like normal Sony Pictures may be kind of okay, there's a whole like side asset to Sony that's really good that I would love to see on Netflix.
My money it'll go to HBO Max, depending on how well the Last of Us TV show does. Because like that'll be like
That could make or break the service, I think.
yeah, it could make
There's
or break the
a lot
service
riding on
because the Last of Us TV show is being produced by PlayStation Studios, which is then like made by Sony, obviously. So if that
Yeah,
does,
which they don't have a good track record so far.
right, exactly. And if they do a really good, it's made by the same guys that made Chernobyl, which is a really good TV series, obviously.
Right.
So I have faith in the show itself. But I think if that does well and like it performs well on HBO, I think Sony and HBO will have a deal. I think it'll go to HBO. But that's just my like prediction.
No, that's a good prediction.
But yeah, let's wrap up our final thoughts because we're going a little long on this episode, boys.
Well, a little bit.
A little bit. Final thoughts.
What was your final thoughts? Mine's a little long.
I mean, mine's just I like sitting on my butt on my couch and just watching whatever I want with all these streaming services.
You also put in your notes. Does anyone know where Sony's IP goes? We already answered that.
Yeah, we
So
already answered the Crackle. That's why I brought the Sony conversation right there. That was what I wanted to bring up with the Sony is like where its IP will go because it's not going to stay on Crackle. That's for damn sure.
Oh yeah, I think Crackle will still be around, but it just kind of be its own thing. 'Cause you
Yeah.
can just watch stuff for free.
Or if they end up like making a deal like HBO Max, they could just like scrap the whole thing and put like the 21 Jump Street TV series on HBO Max.
Or YouTube Premium. That would
Yeah,
be
or
good
YouTube
too.
Premium. Yeah, for sure. Ryan, you got any last minute thoughts?
I hope that with this Funimation and Crunchyroll merger that the user interface will improve.
Yeah.
And my thing will stop freezing on me so often.
Yeah, that's
I
fair.
also hope that Netflix stops making original anime because God, it's terrible. Or at least
Hey, Arcane
if
was good.
Not original anime. at least
Arcane is
stop
not an
making-
anime.
I know, I'm kidding.
Arcane is great, but also if you're gonna make original anime, at least don't make original anime movies, like movies or live action movies, because Death Note needs to be burned forever.
Yeah. Arcane, I don't think was produced by Netflix. I think it was just picked up for distribution.
Yeah,
by
I can look
Netflix.
up who
Well,
made
yeah,
Arcane while you do your final
being picked up
thoughts.
for distribution is one thing. Being
Yeah.
like made by Netflix is god awful.
When it comes to being made by Netflix, I think only 2 shows were successful. That is Stranger Things and Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Yeah.
Like outside of
about
those 2, what's up?
I liked Altered Carbon, but it didn't do well.
Well, yeah, they canceled after season 2.
Yeah, they canceled
which
that.
they do a lot.
Wow. So
it's a big
actually, I think Arcane is French.
It makes sense.
It was produced
It does.
by Fordici, which is a creative production company and a studio able to take in charge of every step in animation movies. They're based in Paris.
Yeah, because it did like the visually it does have a bit of a European style to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It makes sense.
Go
Anyway,
French
Kevin,
people.
go
They
into your
also make a
final
good
thoughts.
anime.
Yes, final thoughts. Netflix can be the top dog if they didn't spend so much money on bad, quote unquote, original content and instead invested money in updating their servers and curating a better library. Because I say quote unquote original content because Netflix doesn't always produce everything they slap Netflix original on.
Right.
A lot of times they take a show from another country or some independent project and then have exclusive distribution rights for, which isn't forever. As we were seeing with Daredevil, the Marvel shows,
The CW
also-
shows.
Yeah, Chewing
God.
Gum also was a show produced by BBC It was on Netflix original for a long time until finally it was off, I think after 5 years. And then it got moved to HBO Max. But yeah, like my biggest issue with watching movies on Netflix is that they're very compressed to the point of dulling colors.
Yeah.
If you, especially with anime, it's super noticeable. You watch an anime, take a clip of anime on Netflix and a clip of anime on even just DVD, you'll see the DVD has like twice, if not 3 times more color.
Yeah. Well, also, they censor half the anime in Netflix because JoJo's Bizarre Adventure blacks out half the show.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I mean, I think that's just American distribution in general. Like they just have to do that.
But I'm like, we have rated R or rated TVMA shows that are way more violent. Like Hannibal's on Netflix, and they did not
take it up with the FCC, Kevin or Ryan.
Hannibal. Oh man, so fun fact: Hannibal aired on public TV on NBC.
It did. Yeah, it did. NBC.
It was TV 14 because there was no sex, there was no swearing, it was only violence. So it got away with it.
It got the 9 o'clock block on like live TV. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Makes sense, but still.
Also, Brian, have you seen Hannibal?
Yes, I have seen. I saw the first season and a half before it got taken off Netflix.
Okay.
Yeah,
don't watch whenever you get back to it, just don't watch season 3, but season 1 and 2. Don't
watch season
television. 3? Yeah, season 3 is terrible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Noted.
You can end on season 2. Quality TV.
Anyway, wrap up, Kevin.
Speaking of quality TV, watch Writer's Block on YouTube. The pilot's out. It's written and directed by my friend Elijah Key. I produced it and did the cinematography, and Zach edited it. It's really fun. It's got like almost 400 views last I saw after like a full week up. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we should have an Indiegogo page up soon. And we just submitted it to OTV to potentially get a grant for them as well for the rest of the season.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah. If you want to hear the rest of our thoughts on other topics, tune into our full episode over on Patreon. Just link below in the description for $5 a month. You can follow us on Twitter at Committed Crits, COMMITTEDCRITS. You can follow us on YouTube at Committed Critics, spelled the same there it is here everywhere else, and TikTok at Committed Critics. Special thanks to our current patrons, Davey Peppers from Game Mechanics, Ryan Kolakowski from Ryan Plays Drums, Andy Phillips from Andy Phillips, Jody Wright, and Devin Vonderhigh. See you in 2 weeks. Bye.